Hi there, welcome back to another quick and easy watercolor painting. And we're going to continue this idea of working loose and free and sort of having, not a huge amount of control, but some control, and allowing the paint to do whatever the paint is going to do. It seems to be more fun that way, for me anyways. I'd love to know what you think about painting loose. Obviously, you're probably here because you're, a loose watercolor painter at least. I'd love to hear from you and know, what it is that you want to do? What is it that you want to see, especially from me and my channel? So I just took some Payne's gray and I dabbed it in there, and then I put a little bit more intense Payne's gray across there. Now I'm going to take this brush, I'm not going to rinse it out, and I'm just going to pick up this, which is sienna, and I'm just going to drop that right across there like that, and I'm going to let that all bleed together. I'm going to rinse my brush off really well, and I'm going to take this brush and I'm going to go right into this sienna paint, and I'm just going to put a little bit in a few places like that, and I'm going to put a little bit across here. Now, you've probably seen me do this before, but this is my #1 watercolor brush, and I've sharpened one end of it, and I'm going to drag that through, and I'm going to scribe some marks in, and these marks are going to become my brush in the foreground. You see how that's starting to seep up there a little bit? I don't really want that, so I'm going to tip this, get that paint to run back down here towards me. I'm going to scribe a few lines in here too, maybe a few lines in there. And you see I have this bit of a dip here. That's what I'm kind of going for, that bit of a dip going on there. So I'm all right with that paint running down into that. I actually want a little bit of color in there, okay? So, you can actually tip it enough like this, so I have it tipped up, so it's going like that. You can see all that paint is starting to run down across there, and that's perfectly fine for me. Got to put this back in the center of the frame again. All right. So I'm going to take this brush. It still has that sienna on it. I'm going to put a little bit more sienna in a few places there, and a little bit more sienna there, like it's a bottom of a steep hill, okay? Now I'm going to take this brush, I'm going to rinse it out pretty good. And I'm going to pick up this yellow ochre. I'm going to make this a little bit more intense. I'm going to go across there. I'm going to try to get rid of that line across there. All right, pick up a little bit more yellow ochre. Yeah, that's the saturation level that I'm looking for right there. All right, that's pretty nice. Okay, we're going to let this bleed together again, but I'm going to rinse my brush out. I'm going to pick up some more very saturated, very saturated Payne's gray, okay? And each one of those little, and maybe I'll just put a little bit across here too, just let that all bleed together. But each one of those little saturated piles, I'm going to take my #1 watercolor brush, and again I'm going to drag through there, and I'm going to make some brush, or you can make little trees, whatever it is you want to do, but I'm dragging out of that little bit of a pile there. Okay, see how that's all bleeding together across there? That's pretty nice. And then you have this sort of all blooming up into the sky. Very cool. Okay, so I'm going to rinse my brush out again. And I'm going to pick up a whole bunch of this sap green, and this is going to go across here, just like that. Maybe just a little lick of it across there. And we're going to let that all do its thing. I'm going to rinse my brush out one more time. I'm going to pick up some of this blue, fairly intense blue. Just going to put a little bit of it in a few places so it bleeds together. Yeah, that's not too bad at all. All right. Now before I leave, I think I'm just going to drag through a couple of these blue places. We're going to let that green and that yellow ochre all bleed together there, and we're going to let this dry and see what we get. I think we're going to find that you know, the dark, the black, and these light areas are going to come together to be a pleasing composition. But let's let it dry and see what happens. All right, let's have a look. We got some wonderful things going on down here where that color is all mixed together. And look how it's created this little tree line for us. Even looks like maybe a little pine tree on the side here. But then the way all that color mixed together here, the yellow ochre with the green, you get the little dark patches with the light patches for some contrast. And when you put your mat on there, that turns out really super cool. Look at where I put that blue in, those few places where I dropped that blue in. Here it gives you some dark green, and down here it gives you some sort of muddy, wet wasteland. I guess marshland would be a better way to describe that. Anyways, I'd love to know what you think of it. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section. I'd love to know where you're from. If you could drop me a comment and know where you're from, I'd really appreciate it. If you're currently a subscriber, thanks a lot. And if you're not currently a subscriber, please consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you again next time.